Hello and welcome to Midwich TV. I am Louis Robinson, and joining me in this video I have Nevil Bounds from Biamp. Now we're going to be talking things all Tech Expo and getting excited for the event. But before we dive into things, it's hard to find anyone in the industry who doesn't know this bloke sat next to me. But just in case you don't, Nevil, give us an intro, mate.
Yeah, well, I've been with Biamp for 5.5 years now. I've been in the industry since 1979, so almost from school, actually. So, working for Biamp is an absolute pleasure. I absolutely love working with the team there. Great bunch of guys and girls.
1979. I don't think I was thought of back then. Not to make you feel bad, man. I don't even think I was thought of then. So that's quite some time, mate.
It is, yeah. But I've been very lucky. I've worked for manufacturers, some consultants, integrators. So yeah, I've had a lot of experience across the board, and also seen so many changes, of course, in the industry. It's been incredible to see the speed of change.
A big part of those changes as well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And we're always learning all the time. That's the thing, just as you think you know everything, there's more stuff to talk about and to learn. So, it's a great time to be part of the industry, actually, as well.
Nice one. So, Tech Expo, though. Biamp, you're one of our lead sponsors for the event. Tell us what you're bringing to this year's show.
Well, it's a great show for us, obviously, and we've just come off the back of a very good Infocom show in the US. And of course, what tends to happen is that those products start to be released about now. So we're going to be showing some really interesting stuff at Tech Expo. One of the things, of course, is these days is that people are looking for simplicity. People are thinking that the AV industry can get a bit complicated and a bit complex with some of the solutions that they put forward. So we're coming forward with some really interesting, simple solutions for those smaller meeting room environments as well. So I think there'll be a lot to see and a lot for people to learn about as well.
It's really nice to hear as well those big events where you're focusing on, you're bringing stuff from that to Tech Expo to bring to the UK market and show people a little bit about what you've been doing throughout the year. It's really cool to see. So let's talk about a big thing that everyone's asking about at the moment. It's sustainability. How are Biamp working with this new model of how we're working together to better the planet? It's
a huge subject, isn't it? And in every tender that you see, sustainability and environmental concerns are right in there. We've got a 50-page PDF document on our website now. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because we'll be here till Christmas. But one of the things that we've identified is actually repairing rather than replacing units. One of the problems that a lot of the industry has generally is the throwaway culture. So we've got service centres set up around the world that are fully geared up to repair items now. And this goes a very long way to making sure that we get longevity out of the products. Biamp products just don't sort of go out of date within 3 years. It's in for the long haul, and we do a lot of work in that area as well. The other thing we're doing is making things smaller. So we're actually using smaller form factors. So we're only using the materials we really need rather than the huge box, which we might have done, 15, 20 years ago. The form factor for our DSPs and that kind of product is much, much smaller now. So that does help with the sustainability goals. Yeah.
I assume you're going to be talking about that at Tech Expo and that more rebuild culture as opposed to throwaway culture. But without giving too much away, how does that look for an end user? Let's say if I've got a product on site and it's broken, what's kind of the procedure I'd expect to see?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if something is broken, then we're there to assist the integrator and the distributor to make sure that problem is solved. Whether it comes back to our place for repair, whether we send an advanced replacement, we can act very quickly in these situations. And people can't afford to have downtime with kit. These things aren't optional or nice to have. They're critical business items. So we've got to make sure that it's fully up and running all the time. So we're very fortunate. We have a very low failure rate, but occasionally things do happen. And we've just got to make sure that we are there to respond quickly to it.
It takes a lot of expertise as well to make sure you've got people within your organisation to be able to service in that way, right, as well, to just get away from that throwaway and be nuts and bolts into the product to learn about it. How do you share that with your integrator partners as well? Because I'm assuming you're going to be talking about that at the show, right?
Yeah, I mean, you need people to do this stuff. There's no two ways about it. I mean, I think the thing is the industry has always thrived on having expertise in, programming, commissioning, and installation and that kind of thing, and on the sales side too. But actually, this stuff does need some expertise and technical assistance. So we've got a fantastic technical team, some of which will be at the show as well as the sales guys and girls. And that's important because the product support is really important. As I was saying earlier, this stuff is mission critical or business critical for people, and they've got to make sure they've got good solutions if things ever go wrong.
That's really cool to hear as well. Not to downplay salespeople. I don't want to get hate thrown at me on the video, but it's nice to hear you're going to have some techies at the show too, to, let's say, the front line of the nuts and the bolts and getting into the weeds of things when things go wrong, right?
Yeah, and very often integrators are bringing their technical teams to the show as well, so it's good for them, those guys, to have a bit of a geek off between them and have technical discussions, you know.
Geek off, let's get onto that topic then. Products of the year, what has been your main focus and what do you think at the show will be the shining star?
Well, I think, obviously, although the pandemic seems a long time ago, there's a lot of end users still recovering from that situation. They are still dealing with situations where they've had equipment installed in 2016, 2017. They've never had a refresh of it, so they're looking for new ways to deal with things. On the higher education side, for example, the teaching and learning spaces, people are looking for smaller solutions, so smaller video conferencing and audio conferencing facilities. And also with the route back to the office as well, a lot of the end users in the corporate and enterprise area are saying, can you help us find a way to have smaller spaces? And by the way, the acoustics in our room, nothing like we've got here. They are horrific. So can you give us some advice and that kind of thing? So the AI noise reduction that we've got and the de-reverberation facilities that we've got in some of our products, that goes a long way to assist them. Now, you can't get away from good acoustics, obviously, but that's not always possible to fix on site. So we've got a lot of tools in our armory now that can assist that. But yeah, it's a big thing, and I think that the conferencing and the simplicity of it. If you know, it wasn't that many years ago we had a 42 rack of gear in the room, and now we've got a USB-C on the desktop, or we're doing it wirelessly. So we've come on such a long way in a relatively short space of time.
With all of that as well comes challenges too, right? There's always conversations to be had. And I know from personal experience, it's great to talk to your team because you've got a really good team about explaining things technically, but also not, I don't want to say dumbing it down, but making it simpler to understand in normal language, to go from that once upon a time, the massive rack of all this, what we're doing with it, to this one cable now, which, like I said, comes with its own complications, but you've got a great team there helping out in the background.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, we'll tailor the conversation to what people want to talk about. So if they want to go full on technical, we can do that. If there's end users or people that are new to Biamp, for example, that don't know what we do, then we can have that kind of conversation as well without getting technical.
Nice one. Well, absolute pleasure, mate. Great to catch up with you. We're going to go and talk for hours now, but we're not going to do this on video because I want to save something for the show as well. We don't want to give it all away. But cheers for joining me, mate. Much appreciated. Really a pleasure. I'm Louis. This is Midwich TV. I've been catching up with Nevil from Biamp to get you excited about this year's Tech Expo. Come and join us down at Royal Ascot on the 23rd and the 24th of October. I'll see you there.